Alright, what we're looking at here, this is a 1970 Dodge Charger. Now this car has been basically dismantled. And when I say dismantled, I'm talking extremely down to the bare bones.
Welcome to D.I.Y. Automotive School with my friend Pete and Minnie, the body shop girl. It's everything you need to know about cars and more.
So to get a good picture of what this skeleton structure is, this is where our trunk floor would be right here. This is a floor extension. This is a trunk floor extension. The trunk floor goes here, it comes across here, it meets up with that, and then it goes around that fender well and up inside to meet with the floor pan, and then of course comes around that fender well. And then what you would have is you'd have your quarter panels on each side of the car, one over here on the right, and then of course one over here on the left. We're also missing our sail panel up here, our rear sail panel. They also call it a Dutchman panel. Why they call it that, I don't fucking know. I don't care. I call it a rear deck lid is what I call it. So you're missing that as well. That was rotted out. I see on this little tray here, this drainage tray, we got a little bit of rot here. The owner said he's not worried about that because he's just gonna leave it like that. This hole right here is there, so he's gonna leave that hole. No sense repairing that because it's already a drain hole anyway, and you'll never see it. And then as we move up to the front, you can see the floor in this car is actually really good. This is the original floor. Really clean and solid. Nothing needs to be replaced on that. But he went ahead and removed the whole front clip, the fenders, the grill assembly, the hood, the whole 9 yards on this car. And then what we've done to it, because you can see that it's in bare metal. Now I want you to look at the metal on this. You can see that it's got kind of a semi-gloss sheen to it. And you can also see a spot here that's got some rust. Now this was grinded at one time. This is a grind spot. And what happens is you can see the different colors here. This has the factory etching on it. When they built the car, they ran it through a tank and it electroplate etched a sealer on it. It's a clear sealer. So when you get it soda blasted, this is the finish that you get. Now if you're working on your car and you got the car inside, not outside, and it's dry, you can leave it like this for a very long time, being soda blasted. Now if it was sandblasted, and we'll say that this is pretty much equivalent to sandblasting. Matter of fact, sandblasting is actually worse than grinding it, but if you sandblast your car, what's gonna happen is in several days, it's gonna get rust and rot. And when I say rust and rot, in several days it'll look just like that. Now that hasn't been sandblasted, that's where the battery goes in this car. And that is a situation that we're going to take care of. So the owner isn't restoring this car as a Concours restoration, he's restoring it as a driver. And And when you do a driver car, you're not going to go to the extreme of off-frame restorations, replacing this, doing that, and spending millions and millions of dollars on it. You're going to do what it takes to make a driver out of it. Now, we're going to go over and look at a car that is basically a driver and not a concours restoration. And if we look right here, this is a driver restoration. You can see that it has all the original chrome. It's never been polished. It's never been re-anodized. It's never been chrome plated. It's got the original bumpers on it. All they need to be is cleaned up, polished out. They have never been chrome plated. You can see that this is a used item here. All right, it's got rock chips on it. But the car is clean. It's a nice, beautiful, clean ride. And it's a driver. It's a car that you can go out, and if you want to drive it to California to some big car show, you can get in it and drive it and not worry about it. So that's basically what our Charger is going to be when the owner's done with it. And then if we come over here to this car, this is called a semi-concours restoration. It's not a concours restoration, it's a semi-restoration. Semi-concours, I might say. And you can see that all of the bright chrome trim has been replaced. And I will remind you, this is aftermarket trim, and aftermarket trim does not fit that good. You can see that right here. But it's been replaced with brand new trim. The grill's brand new. All of the engine compartment has been completely detailed out. It's got a brand new motor, brand new transmission, brand new radiator, brand new battery, brand new ignition. The back side of the hood is, high quality, high gloss black. You got the custom racing stripe hood manufacturer paint job on it. The high quality, high gloss paint job that you're looking at is part of that high-tech semi-concours restoration. You got the brand new spoiler on the back of the car. You got brand new emblems that says Mustang. You got brand new tail light lens. Even though the old ones were still good, you put brand new stuff on it. And here's another example, brand new exhaust and also brand new, reverse lights. So that, what we're looking at right here, would be a semi-concours show car restoration. So you kind of get the difference of what's going on here. Now, I want to let everybody know I am not restoring this car. The owner is doing all the work to it. Him and his son are restoring this, but he brought it over here so we can go ahead and put epoxy primer on it as a sealer purpose while they're working on it. Now, when he gets done with this car, 90% of the sealer that we apply to it, the epoxy sealer, will be removed. And the reason for that is because by the time he does all the body work and all the sanding and all the repriming and this, that, and the other, it will be 99% removed off the vehicle. So the only reason we're putting in a sealer on it right now is to protect it so it will not get any type of surface rust. They can go ahead and work on it without getting grease and oil and slime all over it. And then they can take their time doing it so they don't have to rush through it. Now, remember when I said you can leave this in bare metal for a pretty long time? That's if you're in a very dry weather place such as Arizona. You can also do that in Texas, but the thing is, if you're in North Texas where I'm at, you're in the humidity belt. So humidity is going to be in the air. To leave it in bare metal after it's been soda blasted like this, you got approximately 3 to 6 months and it will start getting surface rust. By applying our epoxy primer to it, they'll be able to take their time and take 15 years on this thing if they want. But before we put the epoxy primer on, there's one other thing that I want to do that I suggested to the owner, and if you look right here, you can see what we're talking about. This is some heavy surface rust from the factory, and what I suggested is that we go ahead and treat that with some rust preventive treatment. That way when he puts it all back together, it'll last a very long time, and he'll be happy with it, and we won't get no more of this right here. So even when you restore your car to a daily driver on a classic automobile such as the Roadrunner, or I'm sorry, the charger, let's just say Mopar, it is a very good idea to go that extra step and take it to beyond restoration of a paint job. Now he's got all that stuff already taken apart. There's no sense not doing it. If we put epoxy primer on those surface rusted areas, the surface rust will still keep activating. So we got to kill that rust. Now we're not going to put rust preventive on the whole thing, just the spots that need it. And then we'll go ahead and apply our epoxy primer over it, and then it'll be a wham bam thank you ma'am situation that says, my friend Pete did it right. Because if you ain't doing it right, you ain't doing it at all. So the product that I use for that is a product that I've been using for many, many years, and I actually have talked to hundreds and thousands of people about this product, and there's only one person in the whole wide world that said it's a piece of shit and it sucks. He said the stuff ain't worth shit and he'll never use it again. Well, can I go ahead and say something? When you paint this on grease, dirt, and slime, it's not going to work. Your metal has got to be clean. Your metal has got to be paint ready. So, you know, that's the situation I see, is that if you don't prep your proper surface properly, it ain't going to fucking work. It either has to be soda blasted like that, sand blasted, chemically removed, whatever you got to do. It's got to be put down to the bare metal application of getting rid of all of the contaminated creatures that are inside the metal that will cause it to flake off and peel. Now, we're talking about this product here, and I am not going to advertise for these fuckers because they're not giving me nothing. So, what we're looking at is this right here. This is the item, and you can pretty much basically guess what that is. It's a nice item, it's a very well working item, and it works great. So, let's go in the paint booth, and the way that I'm going to apply this is with a brush. And once it dries, possibly tomorrow afternoon, I'll be able to go ahead and put my epoxy primer on the car. And then it will be a nice, clean start to a beautiful driver car restoration. So I'm going to go ahead and use a throwaway brush. You can see that right here. And to apply that with, we're going to make sure that we got our rubber gloves on, because if you get this on your skin, and I believe I have several videos about this stuff out here, if you get this on your skin, it's really a nightmare to get off. So wear protective stuff with it. And if you're in a closed area such as my paint booth and you're doing a lot of it, it's very wise to use a mask. But since we're not doing the whole car and we're not going to be closed up inside the car itself, I think we'll be all right. The air's ventilating good, and it won't bother us. But yeah, this is some dangerous shit, just like all the rest of them. So keep that in mind when you're using it. Another thing, I don't know if you're watching this, when you use this product, the lid, the lid will lock itself on here if you don't clean it out right. So you got to use an item like this to really get down in there and hopefully pop that lid off and get it off of there right, because it's a real fucking bear when this happens, and you want to be careful on your hand as well. Motherfucker, are we going to be able to open this bitch? Acting like it doesn't even want to come off. Jesus. That is some heavy duty shit when the lid locks on like that. Damn, that fucking thing is glued on there. Shit. You fucking believe this? Jesus. We're gonna have to get some fucking vice grips on this bitch. There it goes. God. Is that some fucking powerful shit or what? Wow. I don't think we'll be using that can again. So what I'm going to do, just where the surface rust is I'm going to go ahead and paint that. Once he puts his quarter panels on it and gets all that covered up, you won't be able to see in here. So this is actually a good time to go ahead and do this. And that's basically all we're doing. We're just going to paint that rusted surface. We're going to get it the best we can. We know we're not going to be able to get it all. This car is a 1970. What is that? That's like 48 years or fucking something like that. And, you know, it's lasted a long time. The metal's actually still in good shape. But this is a very good classic car that will always appreciate and value. It'll always fine. So we want to protect it. Now, if this was a Yugo or something of that sort that really wasn't a collector item, I wouldn't suggest to do this. But if you got your quarter panels off and you are replacing full quarters or whatever, this is a very good situation of how you can help protect your car and do a nice professional job. And I see right here, there's some rust here. I'm going to get that off. But as you can see, it's a very quick chore. It's a very easy job. And this is just one more tech tip to let you, the viewer out there, know that if you are looking to do a nice, high-quality professional job, do it. I could have actually told the guy, hey, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and then I'll put epoxy primer on it. And I could have went and bought Rust-Oleum paint. And I could have, you know, cheesed it out. I could have used my spray can, my spray gun, and I could have just sprayed it on. But I'm not that type of guy. So what we're doing is we're just going that one extra step, and I want to let everybody know this is what you should do if you're restoring your car. Just go that one extra step. It's real quick, it's real easy, and don't be a cheesecake. And I want to talk to owners of body shops out there. I want to talk to you guys. If you're one of them guys that are ripping people off and are taking people's money and not finishing jobs, and possibly you're that clown act that, you know, thinks they're doing a great job for the customer, but really you're not doing shit but fucking them around, all I can say is fuck you. Because you are what gives people like me a bad name. And I know you really don't give a shit. You're probably laughing, saying, so what? But I will say this, and it's a proven fact. What goes around comes around, and one day yours will come to you. So, you know, just do right and be that kind of person that can be right. Kind of like what I'm doing for this guy. That's my little speech of the day, so back to the lesson. You can see that I'm not doing the whole thing. I'm just getting where the surface rust is on it, and then I'm being done with it. And if you look down here, you can see this is where I was talking about that frame rail. It was in real bad shape, real bad shape. But this is all it takes. All you got to do is just put a little POR15 on it. All you got to do is put a little rust Preventative on it, kind of like what I'm using in the can that I showed you, and it will be a done deal. So, you see that right there? We're done. That's it. That's all we got to do. And then once you're all done, this is basically what you're looking at right here. We have now killed the rust that's on the car. Remember, this was serious rust going on right here. I went ahead and found some rust patch right there. I went ahead and got that as well. And then we also got in here behind the striker plate fucking section. We went ahead and got behind that on both sides. And then I want you to take a good look at this roof right here. That was a job. That was a fucking job painting that. But the way that I did that, I went ahead and sprayed that in. So it's all sprayed and done. This cures the rust. This will not come back, and it will be protected for many, many, many years after he restores the car as a daily driver. When I say daily driver, I don't think he's going to drive it on a daily basis, but he could if he wanted to. So take your restoration to the next level, and don't be a cheesecake about it. Don't be skimpy. And here's another little section that I strongly suggest to get. This is the floor extension. This is your little floor extension panel, but this right here is actually hidden inside the quarter panel and the floor, and you can't get to it. So I went ahead and painted that as well for him on both sides. But don't be a cheesecake. Don't be a sissy ass, pansy ass, and don't rip yourself off along with everybody else out there in the world, because that's not fair, and that's not a good fucking way to actually go to sleep at night with a conscience. I went ahead and got under the dash. If you remember, that was all surface rusted out, so we went ahead and sprayed that too. But big job, but you know what? It's going to really pay off in the end that we did this. It took 1.5 quart of our rust preventive mixture to do this. We'll let this dry overnight, and then we'll come back and we'll put our 2 full wet coats of epoxy primer on it, and then that car is ready for restoration and getting her done, doing it right, because if you ain't doing it right, you ain't doing it at all. And that especially goes out to all you cocksuckers that own paint and body shops, or mechanic shops, or transmission shops that are ripping people off left and right. You type of people really appall me, and I think that you're kind of like the bottom of the scumbag fucking barrel, okay? I don't think that it's fair to rip people off, especially when people work as hard as they do for their fucking money. So, you know, don't lie and cheat in life. Don't be the scumbag that you don't need to fucking be. And that's all I got to fucking say. Take it easy.
Watching D.I.Y. Automotive School. Classes don't stop till you know everything.